registration is now open and the Zoom block is filling up, so we'd love you to join us. In addition, next month's event is a lunch as opposed to a breakfast, but it's in this very room on March 9th about how to succeed in your first legal job. So it's especially geared towards law students and junior attorneys. That will be a great refresher for everyone, so we hope to see you there. So thank you so much for being here today for our Alternative Legal Careers panel. We are fortunate to have with us, starting from this side over here, closest to you, are Martha Johns, Brad Wilson, Lori Robinson, and Ryan Montoya. And I'm Lori Kucher, and I'll be asking some questions, but this is just going to be a conversation, so jump in at any time if you have any questions for our panelists. So I'd like to start off just by asking each of you to just give us a quick overview of your kind of career path to date, so we can see what path you've taken.
My name is Ramona Johns. I grew up in New Mexico. I went to the University of New Mexico and got my bachelor's degree in economics with a math minor. And then I went to law school at Vanderbilt and received my JD there. I also did a law business certificate program, so a lot of the coursework for me during law school had an emphasis in business side, so a lot of secure transactions, securities, accounting, tax classes. I started at Troxel right out of law school, so from Nashville I moved straight to Boise, took the bar exam, and worked as an associate at Troxel for 3.5 years. And at that point, I found the opportunity at Zions Bank to work as a corporate trust officer. So I moved to Zions in April of 2012, so it's been almost 4 years now that I've been with Zions working as a corporate trust officer. So that's the alternative legal career path that I've taken. I can describe more about what I do in corporate trust.
I'm Brett Wilson. I went to Willamette University College of Law in Salem, Oregon. And when I graduated, I moved here to Boise, and I clerked for a year for Wayne Kinwell, the Idaho Supreme Court. And then I worked at a litigation law firm for about 4 years doing all sorts of litigation work. And then I moved to a smaller firm called Evans Keene, where I worked in business transactions primarily for almost 6 years. And then I had an opportunity to go work at the Elks rehab system as a compliance and risk manager, handling all of their risk management and compliance matters. I did that for about 1.5 years, and then I had an opportunity to go work at San Alfonso Health System as the Director of Integrity and Compliance for the health system. So that's where I am now. I've been there for about 2 years.
I'm Lori Reynoldsson. I am the oldest, perhaps the slowest learner who's transitioned out of the practice of law. I went to, my undergraduate degree is from the University of Washington in Design and Planning Studies, so I've always kind of had that development bent to my studies. I got my law degree at Gonzaga in Spokane. And then I started at Paul Farley as well. Pretty quickly learned that litigation wasn't really didn't fit very well with my personality. So I started doing transactional work at Albertsons, and so I have been in private practice and in-house, and I've been a partner in a law firm. I was on my own for a little bit. My practice has always centered on commercial real estate, a lot of shopping center development work. So after I realized that I'd been all of these different places doing exactly the same job, just in a different place, that I finally figured out that the practice of law just wasn't filling my bucket, wasn't super fulfilling for me. So in September, I joined Hopkins Companies, which is a national commercial developer based in Boise. We do projects in 26 states. So I am leasing manager, which is more of a brokerage type role.
I'm Ryan Montoya from Flagstaff, Arizona. Went to Northern Arizona University. Got my undergraduate degree in business management, construction management, and went to work for a medium-sized construction company in Phoenix for about 5 years. I got my MBA while I was doing that. Then decided to go to law school thinking that I might be able to do something along the line of corporate counsel for a construction company. Went to U of I and went to work back in Arizona for a general practice civil litigation firm for a couple of years, and decided it was time to go back to Boise, and went to work for the IWL Department of Lands. I handled the transactions, real estate transactions, acquisitions and exchanges for the department, and I still work for the law firm that I worked for in Arizona on a contracting basis.
Perfect. Okay, so let's follow up, and I'd love to hear some more details about what your current job entails. What are the key elements of it, and what kind of things does a typical work week look like in Ryan's part of your existence?
So my work week is a lot different than working in general practice firm. It's pretty much 8 to 5. I am a government employee, so they don't want you to work too much overtime, which is nice. So it kind of limits the amount of work that I have to do, which is quite a bit different from when you're working at a law firm. You feel guilty for taking off at 5 or having to cut out a little bit early. I typically get in at about 8, check some emails. At least I don't know how many other government employees are here, but I have lots of meetings, and unfortunately that fills the majority of my day. So meetings, we do a lot of interaction with other agencies, so BLM, Fish and Wildlife. I'll have meetings with them to discuss exchanges, communications with them, and it's just a lot of groundwork in order to get the transactions completed, essentially. So anything, meetings, phone calls. I get to travel quite a bit. We have area offices throughout the state. So one of the reasons why I wanted to get out of the traditional firm work environment was sitting in front of a computer while they killed me. Especially going from a construction site where I enjoy meeting people, being outside, walking around, to sitting at a computer reading and writing all day. So working at IWL allowed me to do that. I get to visit area offices, work remotely from those different locations. They emphasize trying to get out as much as possible to see the sites, to see our lands, and yeah, so that's my days involved.
Like Ryan, I'm out of the office a lot as well, because my job is more on the front end of the deals now. So finding, let me back up. As the leasing manager, I lease out all of our vacant space in our portfolio. We've got about 1.6 million square feet of real estate across the country. So to do that, when we have a vacant space, if it's a brand new development, then I work with the developers to put together the kind of the theme of what we're looking for. Is it a high-end retail lifestyle center? Is it going to be more of a center that has junior boxes like dollar stores or Petco's or PetSmarts, or what's that going to look like? Is it going to be anchored by a shopping center? Is it going to be anchored with an office building? What's our vision for the center? And then we put together the marketing program, and it's so there's I meet with people a lot. I talk to people on the phone a lot. I am traveling quite a bit. Meet with a lot of brokers and then tenants. Do a little bit of in the office work, but most of the time I'm out and I'm meeting people and trying to put deals together. And then once we've got the deal points solidified, then I create a letter of intent and I walk it over to the legal department and somebody else takes care of the deal.
You know, my work day, at least during the work week, to me, it doesn't seem a lot different than when I was in private law practice. I still work a lot of hours, I think, relatively speaking. The big difference is that on the weekends, my email goes silent. I don't feel any pressure to go in on the weekends, which is nice. So there's a little bit of difference there. So maybe the fact that the hours seem to be the same as they were private practice and more state remotely than my actual job. I'm not sure that, you know, like Ryan or Roy, I spend a lot of time in meetings. I do a lot of investigations. My job is focused on compliance. So I'm the person that people come to when they have concerns about something that happened, or the way that we're doing our business. So then I'll have to go and interview people. I'll have to figure out what's going on and then generate a report about, about the compliance issue that's been brought to my attention. Like I mentioned, spend a fair amount of time in meetings. Probably half my time is out interviewing or meeting with people. The other half is probably in my office. So that's not all that dissimilar from private law practice. But it just depends, from day to day. In my private law practice, if a serious compliance issue comes in, you have to set aside everything you're doing and readjust your schedule and throw your attention to that immediately, and that happens. I mean, it's pretty disruptive. It happens, way more than I'd like, but that's just a little bit about my day to day.
So in the corporate trust department, we primarily work on municipal bond issues. So as the bond trustee, we pretty much serve as the middleman between the bond issuers, which for the deals that we work on are typically different types of municipalities and charter schools and other types of school districts, and then the investors. And so in that role, the day-to-day work for me is a lot of legal document review, because all of these bond deals are, they're all driven by a huge set of legal documents that are written by bond counsel. So other attorneys are writing these documents, and then what I'm doing in the role as the trustee is reviewing all those documents, and then I work a lot with other attorneys and other financial professionals like financial advisors, underwriters, to revise those documents and make sure that the deal will work, and that as trustee we can play the role that we need to play throughout the life of the bond deal. That also involves then, after the bond deal closes, working a lot with our clients who are typically representatives of municipalities or schools, so a lot of educators. And we're working with them to help them comply with all of the requirements that are in these legal documents, which a lot of times they don't have a good understanding of. So it's a lot of being able to understand and interpret these legal documents and then assist the clients to comply with the requirements. There's also, on the financial end, we take the bond proceeds and we invest those funds on behalf of the issuer, and then based on the requirements in the legal documents, we disperse those funds out so that the bond issuer can do the project that they're doing. And then we also facilitate the receipt of funds from the issuer and payment out to the investors, so that the investors get their interest and principal payments on the bonds. So as far as my typical work week, it's very much Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. There are rare occasions that I work outside of those hours, but for the most part, those are the hours that I'm working. And it's a lot of work in the office, but I spend a lot of time on conference calls, working with attorneys and the other finance parties who are putting together the bond deals. And then I work a lot with the other members of the corporate trust team. So we all sort of work together to facilitate the closing and then the ongoing activities that are involved with these bond deals. So it's a very collaborative teamwork environment in the office. And then I occasionally do go out of the office to go to a meeting at an attorney's office to maybe attend a conference where there are representatives from various municipalities. But it is a lot in the office, but not so much just glued to my computer. It's a lot of interaction with people in the office, on the phone, working with clients through email, phone calls.
Great. Well, I think we're all inspired. So, how did you get these jobs? We'd love to hear your stories about your trials and tribulations and your successes in finding these jobs. To what degree did having a JD and legal experience seem like value added to your employer? And do you have any tips that you learned along the way for anyone that might be inspired to find a job?
For me, I would say absolutely having a JD was extremely beneficial. And in fact, my boss, when she hired me, was specifically looking for somebody who had a legal background. So without the law degree, without the legal experience that I had, I am confident I would not have gotten the job that I have today. So that was absolutely key. And I think for me, I was not specifically looking for a job in corporate trust. In fact, before I found the job posting, I had never even heard of corporate trust. It's a pretty specialized field. And I was looking fairly broadly when I got to the point where I knew that working in private practice wasn't really in line with my career goals. I was just looking at various opportunities. I knew I wanted to do something where I would be able to apply my legal background and my law degree, but I knew I didn't really want to be in a traditional attorney job. And the job that I got, I just happened to find actually on the IWL bar's job listings, and it sounded really interesting. And it was great that I had that legal background because that's really what got me the job. As far as tips, I would say just to be very open-minded if you're looking to sort of get out of the traditional practice of law. There are a lot of opportunities out there, but I think sometimes you don't even know what they are. Like in my case, I had no idea that a corporate trust job would be one that would be very in line with my skill set and just would be such a great fit. So I think it's good to develop relationships with colleagues and other people in the community because you never know what's out there and you'll learn about different opportunities through those relationships. The other thing that's more, I guess, a specific tip that I used a little bit here and there and just looking out at different opportunities is there's the Indeed. Probably all of you have heard of Indeed.com website for job seeking, but you can put in a search. I think it's in the keywords where you can specify JD preferred, and that'll kind of notify you of different types of jobs where it's not going to be a legal job, but they're looking for somebody who has a JD. So those you can find some interesting opportunities there.
So I never wanted to practice law long term when I went to law school, which in hindsight, I think that if you go to law school and you get a law degree, the best thing to do with that law degree is to practice law. So I don't know that going into it I had the best strategy, but I found that my law degree is hugely beneficial in the work that I do. And I would echo what Ramona said about there are a lot of positions out there that aren't technically legal positions, but they have JD preferred as part of the job requirements, and they might have that same preference anyway. And I spent a lot of time providing guidance and recommendations on what federal regulations allow us to do or don't allow us to do, and that's hugely beneficial. I don't think I could do my job very well without having a background, but still, I think that the best thing to do with a law degree is to practice law. And so, in hindsight, you can see these things a little bit better than you can going forward. But again, I don't think I could do my job nearly as well as I do without having a legal background. The other thing that I think gives me an advantage is at least in the healthcare compliance world, I think to really to get a higher level jobs, like the C-suite level jobs like corporate compliance officer or a VP of compliance, you're going to be hard pressed to get a job without a legal background. My boss, who's the VP of attorney compliance, is a lawyer. St. Alphonsus is part of a larger health system called Trinity Health, and we have a system office based in Michigan, and 8 of the 12 people in our compliance department are lawyers, or at least have a law degree and practice to some degree or another. And so as far as like the current job that I have, after I practiced, and I didn't learn this quickly as well, I practiced in litigation for almost 4 years, which I can't express how much I hated it. But it was a great experience. It was horrible, but it was a really good experience, and I'm really glad I had that experience. I probably need 4 years of it. But at any rate,
but the nice thing about doing litigation is you can understand when things go badly,
right,
how you did your negotiating deal up front.
Yeah.
That helps, don't you think?
Absolutely, and it gives you a better sense of what's truly at stake, and I think it gives you some foresight that you wouldn't have otherwise, for sure. But as far as being healthcare compliance, I didn't target healthcare compliance in any way. I was looking for an in-house type position, and a good friend of mine in Wild was working at the IWL, and she wanted an attorney to be a compliance risk manager. So she encouraged me to apply, and I had a pre-existing relationship with the IWL from some work I did at Hall Farley, so it just kind of worked out. And it's an enjoyable profession to be in. I do enjoy it. But as far as tips, again, I would just echo what Ramona said. Look for something where your law degree is truly going to be beneficial, or it's a preference in the job description or something like that.
No legal job requirement from what I do. In my position, I'm mainly sales now. Having said that, my company, if you look at it, the president of the company, the director of leasing, the director of development, two of the developers all have legal backgrounds. So clearly, the company does value that skill set. Because I've been in this industry for so long, and I've put together shopping center documents and restrictive covenants, it's very easy for me when I get a new property to go in and say, here are my exclusives. I can't lease space to these types of uses because I've already granted some exclusives for existing users in the center. And so that's winnowed down. It's going to make my job researching potential tenants a lot easier because I already know what I can't do there. As far as when I was trying to make the switch, I drank a lot of coffee, and I'm not even a coffee drinker, but so I drank a lot of hot chocolate and water. But what I tried to do is just meet with as many folks in the industry as I could to just talk about, what is your job like? What do you like about it? What do you don't like about it? For somebody who's making a transition, I was really concerned that I was actually making a career change, not just a job change. But after 17 years of practicing law, all of a sudden I was not going to be a lawyer anymore. I was going to do something totally different, and I was trying to figure out, is this a young person's game? I mean, because it's very interesting going from a very steady and good salary and paycheck to a completely commission-based compensation structure. So it's lucky that I have a husband that helps pay the bills in our house. But the money's going to come, and I am a firm believer you should never do anything just for money. So I could have stayed and billed every hour, but I think this is going to be a much better transition. And like pretty much everybody else up here, the amount of time that I have outside of work is crazy. It's almost like I have an extra day after the day ends, which I never had before. And after about a month on the job, I went into our IT department and I said, I don't think I'm getting all of my emails on my phone. And they said, why do you think that? And I just said, well, I've got it with me all the time. I'm not getting any emails after like 5:30 during the week. I'm not getting anything on the weekends. And they look it up and said, no, you're fine. And it was such a different mindset where, the deal is still going to be there on Monday morning. Nobody's going to freak out if I don't call them back in 30 minutes. It's been a very nice change.
Like Lori, my job didn't require a JD at all. They actually were a little concerned about bringing someone in with the JD just because we have legal counsel, the Deputy Attorney General. So I was specifically told to not practice law. But it helps immensely. Everything that I do is regarding the law in some way. We're bound by statutes. We have so much to do with the legislature. So on a daily basis, I'm practicing law in some fashion. And even if I have to practice law, it still goes over to the Deputy Attorney General who ultimately sign what I'm doing. So, I'm dealing with deeds, easements, purchase agreements, letters of intent, all those types of legal documents, as well as contracts, and understanding what it means and how it affects people has been incredibly helpful. And the DAGs have even said it's nice to have someone who understands what they're looking at as well, because it's different when you go through legal reading research and can understand what a statute says and how to apply it, and when things apply and when they don't apply. So it definitely helps. And the job at IWL just kind of opened itself up to me. I wanted to move back to Boise, and I loved it here. And I thought that if I was going to leave my career in litigation, that I wanted to do something that I like. And so my background is in real estate and construction, and I wanted to do something along those lines. And I found the job opening, so I applied for it. And yeah, it's been great. And it's so flexible. Whenever I work over 40, I have comp time, so I can take off more time later down the road, which is really nice. And like I said, I still work for the litigation firm and have a few cases with them. I did that just because one of my main fears was that once I get out, especially if I don't have years and years of experience, that I'll lose it and wouldn't be able to get back into it if something did happen. So this was kind of my foot still in the door before jumping off. And haven't decided yet necessarily whether I want to completely jump off or not. Since I still have quite a bit of time after 5 o'clock and before 8, it allows me to do both.
Rip off that thing.
Oh, that's great. Well, we touched on this a little bit, but I'd love to hear a little bit of a compare and contrast of thinking back to your traditional legal job. What do you miss the most and the least? And then thinking about your current job, what do you like the most and the least? So answer to the extent applicable, but go ahead and start with you.
I miss interacting with clients. I thought it was fun to hear what they had to say, what their issues were. It was gratifying when I was able to help them with the case, especially if they've been wrong in some way, and I was able to give them a favorable outcome. So I do miss that. I also miss the strategy and thinking that was involved with litigation. I feel like this job doesn't make me think as much, so I can get bored a little bit easier. And litigation is more, in my opinion, an offensive type of job where you're having to think ahead and you're really wanting the ball and to run it down the field. Here it's just my bosses are the governor, the secretary of state, controller, superintendent of instruction, the director. So I'm really just given things to do and implementing their strategies. So although that I'm helping create some of the strategies, a lot of it's being told to me on what to do. And that's just part of, I think, government and working in the political environment. But I do enjoy that. It's been fun learning new skills that I can apply in the future. And also, if I ever do want to go back, I'll still be able to apply what I'm learning right now in that way moving forward.
It's possible that 5 months isn't enough time to miss things, but there's very little that I miss about my traditional job. This is just a much better fit for my personality. I've always loved business development. I like getting out in front of and talking to people and meeting new people. And even though I'm not solving a problem from sit behind your desk and do a lawyerly response to something, I am solving a problem. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get rent on this vacant space. So I have a ton of autonomy. I love that. I get to do some marketing work, which is fun. It's traveling on the corporate plane is not terrible. So there's not much that I miss right now. And having the extra free time after work and on the weekends has been tremendous.
Listen to Ryan talk about litigation gave me a bit of a headache. No, I'm just kidding. As far as what I do that I love, I am constantly interacting with people in our organization, problem solve, to identify ways to get something done. And I really enjoy that. I like interacting with people, trying to figure out what we're going to do to correct a problem or fix a problem or get around an issue. And so I really enjoy that. And I did that a little bit in law practice, but it seemed like I spent more time writing briefs or contracts or whatever it was. And so now I'm more interacting one-on-one with people that need my help. And so I enjoy that a lot, and that helps out a lot. I don't miss a whole lot about practice. I think she gives the best advice. If you were seriously going to change careers or move out of private practice, one thing I struggled with for a long time is that I had so much tied up in this identity of being a lawyer. And so, you know, I was moving in this direction. I kept looking back and like, do I really want, I mean, I hate law practice, but do I really want to leave it? You know, and that's tough. You have to just kind of like rip it off and realize that your entire value is not tied up in whether or not somebody thinks you're a lawyer or not. And I've got a lot of good relationships in my organization, and we don't help out a lot of people. So I really enjoy that, you know, day-to-day one-on-one interaction. Someone who has a problem, and I can provide a recommendation, I can interpret rules, I can help them figure out how to get around the problem.
And just picking up with what Fred said, you know, if you want to try something different, you can always go back to being an attorney. If it doesn't work out, it's not like you're giving up your legal career if you're going to go do something else for a little bit. If what you're doing isn't fulfilling, or you've got that voice in the back of your head or something, just, you can always go try something else, and you will always, all those experiences, they're going to help you move forward. So if you go and you do something else and you fail at it, you can go back and practice law. There are all sorts of law firm jobs. They'll hire you back.
Just don't burn any bridges on your way out.
For me, I think the thing I love the most about my current job, and that I wasn't very happy with when I was practicing law at a firm, is the work culture. The culture at my job right now is very collaborative. It's very much about teamwork. I felt when I was at the law firm that there was a bit more of a competitive environment, and you know, the mentality is a little bit more like sink or swim type thing, and that to me was a very stressful, uncomfortable way to work. At my job now, I have a great boss who serves as a wonderful mentor for me, and everybody in our office really works together to help each other out, and I love that. I also love the fact that I feel a sense of satisfaction out of what I'm doing, because I know that the work that I'm doing is helping to facilitate various schools and municipalities accomplish the financing that they need for these projects. So I feel like ultimately I'm working towards something that's really benefiting students or communities in some way or another. I didn't have that when I was practicing at the law firm. I didn't have that sense of really helping do something good for people. So I also really love that. I absolutely don't miss the billable hours. I don't miss the stress, the long hours. I love, I'm just a happier person now, because I feel like I'm doing satisfying, interesting, challenging work, but I can also have a very healthy work-life balance. And that was very difficult for me to have when I was in private practice at a firm.
Well, I have a few more questions, but I'm going to take a quick break and let anyone from the audience ask any questions now. Okay, well, oh yes. Okay.
I know, Lori, you're in the process, of transitioning out, but are you all keeping up your law licenses? And is it struggle to be able to secure these with the jobs that you have? Curious about that.
So Washington was the first bar exam I took, because I didn't actually realize I was going to be moving to Idaho, and back then you had to register for the bar exam 6 months in advance. So I went and took it, and it was totally different. It's all essay, or it was then. And then I took that in July, and then I took Idaho in February that year. And I've always kept up my Washington license, even though I've never practiced in Washington. And I went inactive in Washington, probably 7 or 8 years ago, but I was still paying the $300 a year. This is the first year I did not renew my Washington license. And when you do it online, you say, I resign my membership. And then there are all these pop-ups. Are you sure? Because you cannot, But the thing is if I decide this isn't right and I need my Washington license, I would have reciprocity. So I was getting nothing out of it, but it was that Oh my gosh, are you sure? I don't know, am I? So yes, but I am keeping up Idaho. In fact, I spoke at ICSC, the International Council on Shopping Centers. I spoke at their law conference in October, and I will continue to be involved with those types of things. The great thing is for the real estate section and the business section, if you belong to those sections, they have generally half credit CLEs at the monthly meetings, so it's pretty easy to keep up with your CLEs.
Yeah, I'm still licensed in Arizona and Idaho, and it really hasn't been too much of an issue to maintain my CLEs. But working for the state, I have plenty of opportunities to go to classes, and I can do real estate CLEs, and it'll cover my money as well. So.
I've kept my bar license. I'll always maintain a bar license. Just, I mean, Lori mentioned it. It keeps some doors open. I mean, I can see at some point down the road, after I develop a significant amount of healthcare compliance expertise, that, you know, if it were more in a consulting role, I could see going back to a law firm. That would be pretty palatable potentially. So I mean, I've worked way too hard and spent way too much money in my law degree just to let my law license lapse. That makes no sense at all to me. So. I've kept it up, and Lori mentioned I think it's easy to get CLEs. I'm a member of the business and corporate law section and health law section, and in a 3-year cycle, I mean, if you regularly attend those meetings alone, you get enough CLE credits to maintain your license. But I go to professional conferences twice a year, and I just fill out applications for the course that I take to submit to the bar, and I get a significant number of CLE credits from those activities as well. So it's pretty straightforward to maintain it and get the skill.
I've also kept my bar license active, and one thing that's been great for me is that my employer values the fact that I have the legal background and the law degree and the bar license, and so they actually pay the bar dues every year. I would say for me, compared to when I was working at Holly Troxel, it is much more difficult to get the CLEs, and that's partly because it was so easy when I was at a firm, particularly a larger firm like Holly Troxel, because they, over the lunch hour, we would have CLE opportunities right there in our office in a conference room, and so if I would have every cycle many more CLE credits than I ever even needed. Fortunately, I can carry those over because, later it was more difficult, because now it's really more on me to seek out the opportunities, and I think it's probably not that it's difficult now, it's just that it's so easy before that the comparison for me, it has seemed a little bit more challenging. Not that I had to really go out of my way at the last minute to scramble, but I've had to be a little bit more conscious of making sure I'm on track, that type of thing. But I would definitely recommend maintaining an active license. Also because I kind of want to keep my options open, and for me, the experience that I'm gaining in the corporate trust field would be very applicable to going back to the practice of law, maybe in a bond counsel role. And so if that ever became something I wanted to do, I would want to have to go through great lengths to get my license active again. And I would never take another bar exam. So I would avoid at all costs.
Any other questions? Okay, well, I have a few more. So we've heard a little bit about which legal skills have been really helpful to you in your current position. But I'd love to hear if there were any skills that you felt you really had to develop that being a lawyer didn't prepare you for in your current position.
So as I may have mentioned, corporate trust is really a combination of law and finance. And so for me, I came in with the legal side, but the finance and investment aspects of corporate trust are where I tend to struggle a little bit. That's the area that I've had to come up to speed on more. And fortunately, my boss has a background in finance and investments, and so she's been great at helping me learn that side of it. But it's still something that I have a ways to go, and it's great though, because it gives me a lot of opportunity to learn and grow in that area, because that's not really the skill set that I came in with.
So I think the thing that I had to learn most was, at least in healthcare organizations, everything's policy driven. Everything that you do is dictated by what the policy tells you can or can't do. And there are a lot of important reasons for that, but that was hard to get used to. And then, excuse me, I mean, I think in the private practice of law, you do a lot of handling of your clients, and I do a lot of the same, but it's a little bit different. I mean, they're not there paying me for my advice. They expect me to fix their problem, and so you got to be able to do a lot of influencing people in an appropriate way to get them to where they need to be, and so that was a little bit of a difference in private law practice. Kind of get used to. When you're a lawyer, I think it's a little easier to tell people, this is the way it is, and this is the way you're going to do it, because legally that's what you have to do. And people say, okay. Now they're not so, I mean, I can get legal counsel on the phone or in-house legal counsel anytime, and they can say, yeah, you got to do what he said, and that helps. But you've got to be a little more influential, and that's been an interesting skill.
So I was on the job probably 6 weeks, and I spent an entire day cold calling, which I had never done before. I'm terrible at that. I went home and said, it was almost as though I had forgotten how to speak on the phone. But what I've actually learned is cold calling is not a good, I don't do it well. My guess is nobody enjoys it. So having to develop the process for me has taken a little bit of time. It's not good for me to just call them and be like, hey Brian, I got 25,000 square feet of real estate space for you. I've got to figure out why I would actually need that and do my research and put my pitch together in my head, and then I can easily call. But the other thing that I'm working on is the economics of the deal. It's not, I could be in my position and just have my boss come in and say, this is the type of rent we need to get at this space. And I wouldn't have to do any more calculations, but that's not how my mind works. I need to understand the entire development deal. Why do we have to get X number of dollars per square foot at this location? But at this other building, the same development, that can move a little bit more. So I'm a big picture type person, so I want to understand why we need to get the rents that we're getting certain places to make the whole deal work. So I think that's probably it as far as new skills.
So with what I do, one of the hardest transitions was going from billable hours and where your field worker all the time, you have to keep track of everything to the slow pace of how the day works. And one of the hardest parts of that was how many levels of bureaucracy there are, and thinking about I have to have 5 meetings or 5 people approve what I'm about to do, and that's extremely frustrating, and it just seemed like I was spinning my wheels more than anything. So I think that was hard, and that's not necessarily something that law school didn't train me, but just part of a different type of job. The other aspect, which is similar to what you were saying, was just the business and financial part of what I do. A lot of it has to do with the financial return, and it has to make sense financially, or else we're not going to do the job. My background in construction as well as business was really what I needed to do in order to have those tools. So it wasn't too difficult for me to make that transition since I had already done it, but law school definitely didn't give me what I needed to do in order to deal with new business deals. It helped with being able to negotiate. I was part of that mediation class they had at UMI, and that really helped understanding the mediation principles and books we got to read for that class. But yeah, I would just say transitioning from fast-paced, quick environments just to slow-paced government is hard.
The other thing about the business deal is I've closed a lot of deals in my career. What I don't think I ever realized is how many deals don't actually get to the lawyer's desk. There are a lot of there are a lot of negotiations. There are a lot of business deals that never actually move forward, and that's been sort of surprising to me. I guess I just thought, there's always been the joke, oh, well, sometimes the attorneys, they'll kill the deal. Oh no, way more deals actually are killed before they ever get to the attorney's desk.
Great, and then my final question before we go back back to the audiences has to do with how this has affected your relationships with other lawyers. Do other lawyers have any misconceptions about you or your job, and has it changed how you interact with other members of the bar to no longer be in traditional legal talk?
I hear a lot that people don't really like their job, other attorneys. And it makes me feel good that I'm doing something. But I haven't really had any misconceptions conveyed to me about what I do. I like what I do, and I think that it shows. And yeah, no, I really haven't had anybody say anything negatively about me doing that. And I still interact with attorneys all the time, especially since we work with the Deputy Attorney General. So on a daily basis, I'm talking with them 2 or 3 times a day. So my interaction with other attorneys is quite a bit.
I've been drinking a lot of cocktails because everybody wants our business. I have had a couple of attorneys say to me, well, don't you miss the title? And I think that probably says more about them than it does about me. Because who cares? I mean, whatever. Still work with a lot of attorneys, but I'm more in the client's role now, so they're trying to work my business.
Nice. I don't drink cocktails. No, the one thing that I should have mentioned that I do miss a little bit of practicing law is, there's a lot of collegiality, a lot of professionalism in interacting with other attorneys, especially in your own firm, when they're not like on the other side shouting at you about how stupid you are. I don't interact with attorneys as much anymore. I mean, we have our in-house legal counsel that I work with a lot. I had a similar experience to Ryan when I got hired. I had a meeting with our general counsel. She sat me down. She said, "You do not practice law for our organization." And so that was a bit of and I totally understand why. I mean, there's a lot of important reasons about why I can't give legal advice. And I totally get that, but that was like, okay, yeah, I get like not working any legal capacity at all. But it hasn't really changed my relationship with other attorneys. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks less of me because I don't practice law. I mean, I still have an active law license and whatnot. I haven't had that experience anyway. So my main interaction comes with like bar section activities and things like that. I still have a lot of relationships that I maintain and whatnot, but it hasn't. I mean, I don't interact with attorneys as much anymore, but it hasn't really impacted my relationship with folks that I do interact with.
I think probably the biggest misconception that attorneys may have about my job now is that it's boring or repetitive. And to me, I've never had a day that I didn't feel challenged or stretched in my job and feel like I was doing interesting, satisfying work. So, I think maybe where that comes from is that as an attorney, particularly a newer associate, you're doing a lot of different types of work. So you learn a little bit about a lot of things. For me, what I actually love about my job is that I'm now in more of a specialized field. So I'm actually developing a skill set, feeling confident about what I'm doing because I actually feel like I know what I'm doing. Whereas as an attorney, it seemed like there were things coming across my desk every day where I was just sitting there going, I don't know anything about it. Oh my gosh, I get to what do I do? And that was a very uncomfortable, stressful place for me to operate in. So that's actually been a great change for me. And it's anything but repetitive or boring because although it's, a lot of the work I'm doing is all related to primarily municipal law deals, we always have new and interesting, complicated deals. So that has not been an issue for me at all. And as far as my relationship with attorneys, I actually have a really great relationship with a lot of attorneys because in every bond deal we work on, we're acting as trustee, but we're working with bond counsel, borrowers counsel, issuers counsel. So I work with a lot of attorneys, not just here locally, but also deals we work on all across the country. So law firms, bond law firms, Tower Rock, a lot of these all over the place. So I've actually had the opportunity to have really good relationships with attorneys. I've also stayed really involved with the IWL but because it's important for me to have good relationships with the attorneys who do both municipal law work and also some business attorneys who work on escrow, because we also act as escrow agent in corporate trust, so that's kind of another role we can play. But yeah, I do think that some attorneys I talk to are maybe jealous of my position because I don't have the stress, the billable hours, the long hours, those types of things that I think are very challenging about being a traditional attorney job. So I feel really lucky when I talk to a lot of attorneys.
Well, you have to admit, nothing you do is exciting and you're fun.
Right.
Great. Any final questions from the audience?
Or even if you would get your positions if you had not had work. With the JD work, the opportunity.
Didn't need it for my position.
Yeah, it wasn't, I think that helps, but it wasn't really just came down to the other applicants and
For my job, it wasn't, it was preferred qualification. Another preferred qualification was a master's of health administration. So I didn't need it, but I really think that I am way better capable of doing my job with a legal background than I would do now.
I think for me, it's not a requirement to have a law degree in general to work as a public health officer, but in my particular case, I did get my job because of the legal background that they have, and it is extremely beneficial to me in the work that I do as far as the attention to detail and the ability to analyze and interpret legal documents, written and verbal communication skills. I think all of those things that I gained through my legal background are really key for me to do my job now.
I should also mention that the first job that I got in healthcare compliance, I wouldn't have gotten without my law degree. They were looking for someone with a legal background, and the job I have now, I wouldn't have gotten without the experience. So there's definitely a connection.
Well, I really want to thank Mackenzie Eamon and Jenny Swinford for organizing today's breakfast, and especially thank our panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Corporate trust here at Science University, we are growing really rapidly and always looking for people with legal background. So I just would encourage anybody who thinks you may have an interest in corporate trust to reach out and contact me, and I can give you a card if you're interested, because there are probably going to be opportunities in our office over the next year, 2 years.
Thank you.